In Dreamweaver Project 6, you are tasked with redesigning a local website to have a better look and feel to it. And the main idea behind this project is that you learn how to work with div tags. You've had some experience with these in the past. You had to create a page with an AP div tag, which is a different thing. This type of div tag is going to react to changes in the web browser size, and we're going to actually have 3 div tags that create this center content. It's a div within a div within a div. So we'll be creating something like this. You will get to choose a website from a local company that you think needs to be overhauled and try to create a better design than what they did. This is a fictitious company that I made up called John's Landscaping Service, and I have 3 tabs on this page for the little things that they do. So let me go ahead and show you how to get started with that. I've copied some code just to speed things along, but we're going to click on a new HTML document, and then we're going to save it as, on the desktop I'm going to type comp and then click save. Okay, so in the head section, it's just faster to type up a little bit of CSS first, which starts with style equals, or type equals, text/CSS, and then I'm going to close that style. I'm going to still stay in between there and add a little bit of code to get this started, and it's an exclamation point dash dash, and down at the end of the style I like to close it immediately with a dash dash and an arrow. Alright, so in between here I'm going to type, or I already have pasted into my clipboard some of that code from the previous page just so that I can explain it faster. But there's an outer container that is going to be 80% the width of the page. I also specify the max and the min width just so that, you know, if you were on a really big screen, we wouldn't want those single sentences to run on a single line. It would just look weird, and it would be hard to read. So the maximum width of that box could be 1260 pixels, and the minimum width would be 780. So it could crunch down to 780, but only be as big as 1260. So it will be changing in size depending upon what kind of device or browser you're on. The margin is the space around the window. So if I brought this up again just so that you could see it, I'm going to click on, I put it all in this folder. Okay, so the space around this box here, I've got 10% of the page over here and 10% of the page over here, so 80% is in the middle. The margin is the space between the edge of the screen. So you can see here I've got the grass in the background here. There is no space between the window edge and the picture itself. So in a normal page there is a little bit of space there, but I zeroed it out. And the auto refers to the left and right sides, so here and there. And then the background color of this particular box is white, so that's a FFF. Okay, the header is this sky that I put in the background, and I set the padding to 0 at the top and 0 on the sides. So that puts it right up against the outer edges of the box. But then for the content pane, I did want a little bit of an indent here, so I went padding 0, and remember that works like a clock dial. So the first one is the top, and then the sides are going to be the second one. So to the right and left, I want 10 pixels of space. So that gives us a nice little indent. Otherwise, these letters or this box would be right up against this edge, and that would be kind of unusual. We wouldn't want that. Okay, now below in the body, to recreate this, I need to have, like I said before, a div within a div within a div. So I'm going to type div, and then I'm going to have a container, or class, equals container. So that's the outer box. And I'm going to close it immediately, give myself some space, and then I'm going to say div class equals header. And I'm going to close that. And then inside that will be my third and final div, and that's the content. So I'm going to type div class equals content. Alright, now if I put an H1 tag in here immediately, you should start to see a box. I'm going to put John's landscaping service. Alright, let's go ahead and hit design so you can see it. Alright, so here's the box. It's 80% in the middle, and now I can start filling it up with stuff. So over here within the head section, I'm going to insert a image. And I already have, or probably before I do this, I should save the page one time. And then I'm going to click Insert Image, and I wanted the sky up top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, give it a alternate text of sky, and the width is going to be way too big. Instead of 1277 pixels, I want it to be 100% the size of that box in the middle, and I'll keep the height the same. So let me look at the design view, and there's my sky. And then the next thing that I want to do is I can start styling the page. For that, I can go back to the design view, and I'm going to click Page Properties, and under CSS, this is going to add the rest of the CSS for me. I think for this, what I'm going to use is Trebuchet as the font, and then the background image I'm going to set to this lawn picture that I found, and the default text color, I'm going to take the eyedropper and I'm going to click out in here for now. I don't think I'm going to want that. I think I'm going to want something darker. Maybe I could go with something like this for now. No. Maybe a little more like that. So we're going to have a green theme here for a landscaper page. At the bottom, well, let me insert this spree object that I had in the middle of the page. So here I had spree, a menu bar, or not a menu bar, I had in the tabbed panels, and then for some content I added that lorem ipsum. So I'm just going to copy it out of my original page. Click copy. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. And I also had down here a footer. So if you notice, I had some text over here. So again, I'm going to copy that out of this page. And I just had the office hours listed for this particular project. Now these dots, where those come from, if you remember, that was under the insert panel text. And when I scroll all the way down, there are characters and symbols that are nice little decorations on your page. So that was this particular one right here that I used. But there's other symbols that you could use within here that are kind of a nice decoration on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. And then for the styles that are used throughout this, then I just kind of decorated this up. I added a few pictures and I came up with this. So I had a dark green in here. I'll let you play around with that because this is something by now you probably have been pretty used to. So to format this tabbed panels group, just real briefly, because this was in another project, the tab panels content, so this is the content in here, tabbed panels content. You can double click on this, you can change the background style, the font styles over here, and there's a bunch of other settings as well that you can play around with, but mostly you'll probably be changing the colors here and there. So that's this. Then there is the tabs themselves. So the tabbed panels tab controls the tabs that are not clicked at the moment. So the ones that you're not using, you can change the type of the background here as well. It's the same setup as the content. And then the current selected one, you probably want to have blend together with the content panel like we did before. That's tabbed panels selected. There's also a hover for when the mouse is hovering over but you haven't clicked it yet. So you can play around with those colors. And what I did on my page is I had the hover was blue and I matched the sky color up here. And then a light green, which I think I sampled from this grass out here, and then a dark green on the inner fill. So depending upon the company that you're going to be redoing, you can play around with those settings until you get the look and feel that you feel is appropriate. If you have any other further questions, just feel free to ask me in class or go ahead and email me.